Live stream on preparing for an audit with Sage Intacct Construction. In this live stream, we're going to be discussing the tools that are available, built in already into Intacct, that can help you prepare for your audit. So we're going to cover reports and the drillable functionality of those reports. We're going to talk about the audit logs and audit reports. We'll also show you the collaborate feature inside of Intacct and how that can help you with your audit. And also we're going to show you the attachments feature for your year-end documents that you can store inside of Intacct. So first, let's discuss the drillable reports inside of Intacct. So if you aren't familiar with Intacct very well, there are reports, dashboards, many areas where you can drill down into the source transaction. So right from a dashboard, right from a report. And the way you can tell in Intacct if something is drillable is by the blue links in here, okay? So right now I'm on a controller dashboard that has some performance cards and some AR pie charts and vendor pie charts and some line graphs and then actual reports inside the system that are built and attached here to this dashboard. Okay, so for example, an AR aging. Okay. So let's say that your auditor has come in and would like some reports, your balance sheet, your income statement, and let's say that you would like to give them read-only access to Intacct. You can set up a user and a role for read-only access for your auditors inside of Intacct. If you would like to do that or make it easier, it's kind of a preference thing there with if that is wanted or not. But let's say they're in your system and they are looking at your balance sheet and pulling that information. So I've got a sample balance sheet up over here. And what the balance sheet in detail here does is it first of all has these expanded, so you can create a collapsed balance sheet or summarized one to collapse some of these groupings as this is pulled up, and then you can come in here and instead expand as you wish. Okay, but this one is expanded in detail. Okay, so any of the blue numbers are drillable. So let's say I want to see some source transactions on my AR trade number here. Okay, so I'm going to click into here. And let's say that, from an auditor's perspective, this would be handy because they're going to look at cutoff at month end or year end related to timing of, these invoices, for example. So let's say that I want to drill into this transaction. Again, it's blue. I can click on it and it's drillable. And I can pull up my actual invoice here and see that on the 29th, I generated this invoice and this customer has actually paid it. Okay, so this is something an auditor would like because they can see that this invoice was paid on. So, from their perspective, easy to find on here and when it was paid. And they can come down here and see the entries, and they can also see the general ledger effect of the entry that was made here. Okay. So again, same kind of premise with your income statement. They could pull up an income statement detailed report and themselves and come in here run an income statement. And this one is set up to do, 3 months, but you could do obviously a year-ending total here. But let's say they want to look at what you had coded into your office expenses, or let's look at this one, workers' compensation insurance. Okay, so they can see that these were, for example, some accruals from payroll. Okay, that here. So let's close these. Well, you could actually too, excuse me, you can drill down into here and see the actual payroll journal and the payroll posting, the payroll entry related to that. Okay, so if they wanted to go down to that level. You can also see there's some history tabs as well to see when it was created, posted, approved, if they're testing some approval type things there. Okay, so really, really nice drillable functionality if the auditors are given access to, read-only access to the system. Also, just to expand on that a little bit more, if we looked at the materials account, let's say, for example, and let's say we pulled up Cook's Lumber here. And if I was using paperless software or the paperless accounts payable area inside of Intacct, they can actually drill down and see the actual image of this bill, which is something that is that they request from your during your audit. They'll request a lot of source documents, so you can actually pull up the actual invoice from the vendor. Okay. Okay, and this one isn't an actual image of the bill, so let's go find one here just to show you. There's some in this time period here. Okay, let's just click on one of these. You can see the attachment here. Okay, and this might just be a real simple sample that we're loading in here, but it would have the image of the actual bill in here. Okay, so obviously this doesn't match the actual transaction, but your actual invoice would be attached from the vendor in there. Okay, so really easy to get down to the source level transaction if you're using a paperless accounts payable solution to see that source document. Okay, so let's touch on the collaborate feature inside of Intacct. So let's say you're making some year-end journal entries and you want to communicate with your controller or CFO on why you're making the journal entry. It is a good idea inside of Intacct to create sort of a trail of that conversation. So I'm going to log into a sample company here. Okay. Okay, so over here in the sample company, I'm first going to navigate to a checklist here screen, and then I'm going to touch on collaborate here, and I'm going to touch on these checklists, okay, and how you can kind of use these together. So let's say I've got a year-end close going on and I am wanting to put my closing checklist into the system. Okay, so there are sample closing checklists inside the system that you can customize to your specific company. So let's go over here and look at the assignments for that checklist. Okay, and I've got a view set up here just to give me the month-end checklist assignments. Okay, so let's say, for example, I want to approve my bank reconciliations. And let's say I'm the person who's doing the approval, and I notice that the preparer of the bank reconciliation did not attach the bank statement to the task, to the assignment. So in here, I wanted the preparer of this assignment to, or the preparer of the bank reconciliation to have an assignment on, to have an attachment on the prepare bank reconciliation assignment. Okay, so I'm coming into my task here as Brett to approve the bank recs, but I notice in that step that I don't have a bank statement attached to my bank reconciliation. Okay, so if I want to chat with Brett and come up here and start a chat up there, or I can come down here and say something to the effect of, and now there's already a string going on this one for an example, but if I want to tell him I would like you to attach the bank statement to 12/31/22 bank reconciliation screen so I can approve my bank reconciliation. Okay, then you could share it. Brett would get an email, and he would also see it up here when he logs in to Intacct that he's got a message. It's going to put number 1 in red right here. Okay, so if you want to see the string of all of your messages, you can kind of see some of the most recent ones. You can also click here, view all in the collaboration center, and it takes you to the different feeds that you can view. Okay, so I can view myself, I can view different people, different groups, and you can see, you know, some back and forth messages that go on. So on that actual assignment, the string is kept down below. So if an auditor comes in here and wants to see, you know, the approval process, then they can see some notes that are going on here in between you and your staff. Okay, also, as I touched on, attachments. So attachments on checklist items, okay? So you can put an attachment here on an assignment, which is basically part of the checklist, month-end checklist. So I'll have checklists and I'll have assignments underneath the checklist, okay? So you can put the attachments right in here. There are also attachments on various screens that you can put your bank statement, for example, on right here when you're doing the actual bank prep, bank reconciliation preparation. Okay, so if Tammy was the person preparing the bank rec, she would come in here, attach it, and that way when Brett goes to do the actual approval, then he has it right there. Okay. Okay, another nice feature inside of the system is relating to audit trails. So I'm just going to pull up some bills here. And let's just pull up this one here. Okay, here's a soft warning, just FYI. So somebody accidentally dated the due date before the transaction date. So just another kind of functionality within Intacct. But regardless, we're going to look here at the audit trail. And we can see that on the 27th of February, this user created the bill inside of Intacct. So that was probably created in the HH2 paperless system, came down and synchronized. Brett came in and modified it for some reason. And the modification looks like that the due date was changed from 6/19 to 3/31, thus giving us the error over here. Okay, so it gives you some before and after details on what happened. So if your auditor is given access to the system and they want to see an audit trail on a particular transaction they've selected for testing, they can come up here into many screens and view the audit trail on that specific transaction. Okay. Okay, lastly, there are permissions reports, and there's also an advanced audit trail functionality that you can turn on inside the system to give you some reports for looking at security permissions, and there's event logs, so you can see when a user has signed in and such. So if we look at this one that is called permissions report, we'll view this. You can see that it gives, and this can also be customized to add even more, but you can see that this user has created an accounts payable bill. Here's the record number, when it was created, when it was modified. You can also add many more fields. So, if this isn't enough for when the auditor is looking, they can, drill down into these numbers. You can add more fields here if it was, modified again. There's definitely more customizations you can do on here, but if I click on this record number, I think this is done loading here. It's getting that waiting message. Let's see. It's going to pull up the detail of that record that was created when someone was editing, revising, adding a transaction. But let's say we don't find that report entirely useful yet because we need to add some more columns. We can come right in here to the custom reports wizard and add some more columns that are available here for the, maybe you want a couple of these on. Just turn a few more on here. We want to see what entity it was created in, since we have multiple entities up here. And let's just see what that looks like now. Okay, so now I have some more columns here. It was created in the GC entity. Got some more modified fields over here, and the when created by date over here. Okay. Okay, I will be posting some information about Advanced Audit Trail on the live stream. Not required. If you're medical, industry, that would be when it's required. But for construction, it's not really something that too many people turn on. They can get the audit trail with the non-advanced version usage, that can use that just fine without turning advanced on. Okay, but I'll post that information anyway. Also, we'll post some tips and tricks on preparing for your audit in general, and using the checklist, using attachments, just a little bit more functionality on making it simple for your auditors, and also the user and role setup that you could create for an auditor if you wanted to give them access to Intacct. But regardless, being able to provide them information on your own, being able to drill down into some of the reports that are available when they ask for detail on an income statement, for example, on an account. You can easily drill that down and send that to them on your own if you don't want to give them access to your system. So, just use the drillable functionality on your financial reports. Use your Collaborate feature to chat with your team on your screens, and use the attachments would be the big tip for when you're doing reconciliations, especially at year end. If you have any questions, reach out to us at help@bangertinc.com. Go to our bug website for useful live streams and videos and information at bug.bangertinc.com, and also our YouTube channel that has a lot more videos from many years on Sage, Intacct, Sage 300, estimating, bidding, etc. We'll post the information for those different sites on the live stream after this is done. If there's any questions, just reach out to us or post a question on the live stream here, and we will get back to you. Thanks for your time today.